Most people think this is a haunted house. It is not. The Porcelain-Doll Manor holds its breath between ritual and ruin. They dolls began in blood stand mid-motion, masked as aristocratic decay. What outstretched lingers in those halls is not a curse. It is a tilted harvest scream. The Beneviento lineage did not merely inherit this manor. They were its purpose. Umbrella's progenitor experiments did not begin in labs. They began in blood. They dolls began in blood stand mid-motion, masked as aristocratic decay. What outstretched lingers in those halls is not a curse. It is a tilted harvest. The Beneviento lineage did not merely inherit this manor. The manor's 19th century spires pierced a sky, still unaware of Umbrella's shadow. Beneviento's halls, draped in aristocratic gloom, were no accident. They anchored one of 4 Lord Domains. Umbrella, seated with progenitor. Porcelain dolls, frozen in their gilded cases, are not mere relics. Each is a vessel, flesh reshaped, bloodlines bent over 120 years. The village's curse was a design, a family's silence curated to perfection. What Umbrella harvested here was not chaos, it was control. A century of stillness, waiting for the right hand to crack the porcelain and break the world. In shadowed halls of House Beneviento, journals whisper of a pact, not with death but with a corporation. Umbrella's hand chose this bloodline in the 19th century, a genetic bridge. The Progenitor Virus did not seek them, they were its scaffolding. Porcelain dolls line the manor's corridors, delicate, lifelike, each a vessel for a child whose body became a blueprint. The Beneviento name was not cursed by fate, it was a contract. Umbrella's reach stretched continents before 1998. Their labs bred horrors, but the Megamycete, a quiet evolution, a root in the progenitor's soil waiting to split the C-virus. The curse was not chaos, it was a sieve, a family's pain filtered into data, every fever, every mutation, a step toward symbiosis. The dolls are not survivors, they are the final iteration, a century of Umbrella's patience folded into fragile perfection. What does it mean to be human when your blood is a pathogen's next meal? The manor's silence holds the answer. And the world still unaware, the experiment's breath echoes in every unmarked grave, every forgotten name, waiting. The Beneviento Manor stood as a monument to excess. Crystal chandeliers bathed marble halls in false light. But beneath the gilded moldings, a sacrament unfolded. Porcelain dolls, pristine and lifelike, lined the salons. To guests, they were art. To the family, they were heirlooms. To Umbrella, they were data points, genetic scaffolding. The progenitor's whisper wove through bloodlines, not as disease, but as inheritance. Aristocratic rituals masked biological alchemy, baptisms laced with viral vectors, feasts served on mutated platters. No one questioned the withered roses that bled amber sap. No one noted how the butler's hands rippled like overripe fruit. The Benevientos thrived, unaware their DNA had become a ledger of experiments. Umbrella's shadow did not arrive as invasion, it arrived as tradition. A century of silent harvests, each generation a refinement. The dolls, it is said, were the purest vessels. Their porcelain skin hid what? A final iteration, a failed prototype, or a warning. The manor's splendor was a shroud, its beauty a language of decay. And in the cellar where roots pressed against stone, something waited, not to attack, to inherit. The cellar's air thickened with the tang of antiseptic and iron. In 1898, beneath the manor's doll-filled parlors, a scalpel met Beneviento blood. Not spilled, but cultivated asterisk. The first trial subject, a girl with porcelain complexion, breathed progenitor-laced vapor. Her screams, muffled by velvet, became the blueprint. Umbrella's shadow did not command this experiment. It nurtured it. The virus did not consume. It negotiated . A century's worth of heirs followed, each a pact written in DNA. Their bones hollowed, refilled with mycelium's whisper. The dolls, not art. Not yet, they are calcified echoes of children who outlived their flesh, their faces frozen mid-scream, eyes 2 hollows where the virus gnawed. The manor's roots drank their tears. By 1998, the Beneviento name had no master. The bloodline was a script, each generation a footnote in Umbrella's ledger. The porcelain dolls 12 in all wear the final act. Their bodies symbiotic prisons, their minds fragmented hymns to a fungus that learned to wait . What does a parasite inherit? Not power. Persistence . The Baker family's tragedy was a spark. The Benevientos was a slow burn, both burned. In 2021, when the manor's doors creaked open, the dolls stood sentinel not as weapons, but as witnesses. Their silence spoke of 120 years of failed evolution, of a virus that needed not a host, but a asterisk home asterisk. The manor is no mausoleum, it is a womb, and the dolls, they are not dead, they are the first to asterisk survive asterisk. The cellar's air thickened with the tang of antiseptic and iron. In 1898, beneath the manor's doll-filled parlors, a scalpel met Beneviento blood. Not spilled but cultivated. The first trial subject, a girl with porcelain complexion, breathed progenitor-laced vapor. Her screams, muffled by velvet, became the blueprint. Umbrella's shadow did not command this experiment, it nurtured it. The virus did not consume, it negotiated. A century's worth of heirs followed, each a pact written in DNA. Their bones hollowed, refilled with mycelium's whisper. The dolls, not art. Not yet, they are calcified echoes of children who outlived their flesh, their faces frozen mid-scream, eyes two hollows where the virus gnawed. The manor's roots drank their tears. By 1998, the Beneviento name had no master. The bloodline was a script, each generation a footnote in Umbrella's ledger. The Porcelain-Doll 12 in all wear the final act. Their bodies symbiotic prisons, their minds fragmented hymns to a fungus that learned to wait. What does a parasite inherit? Not power, persistence. The Baker family's tragedy was a spark. The Benevientos was a slow burn, both burned. In 2021, when the manor's doors creaked open, the dolls stood sentinel not as weapons, but as witnesses. Their silence spoke of 120 years of failed evolution, of a virus that needed not a host, but a home. The manor is no mausoleum, it is a womb, and the dolls, they are not dead, they are the first to survive. The porcelain dolls in House Beneviento do not weep, they never did. Their hollow eyes mask a truth, they are not art. They are archives. A century of aristocratic decay became a laboratory. Umbrella did not choose the Beneviento bloodline by chance, they cultivated it. The Progenitor Virus did not infect this family, it inherited them. Generation after generation, the curse thickened. Births became experiments, marriages vectors. The manor's halls, once grand, echoed with whispers of symbiosis. Then came the Bakers, a different bloodline, a different horror, no virus. Just domesticity unraveling. Mia's hunger was not new, it was a mirror, a mother's love twisted into sustenance, a sister's trust weaponized as bait. Two families, one poisoned by science, one by silence, both devoured by what they nurtured. The manor fell not to monsters but to memory. The Beneviento's pride became their prison, their legacy, a mold-eaten photo. A doll's head in a cellar, a name scrubbed from history. What does a corporation do when its experiment outlives its purpose? It buries it. The Bakers burned, the Benevientos faded, the progenitor's work remains. In the cellar, a doll's hand still clutches a letter. Unread, unreadable, a century of answers sealed in wax, waiting. The wax seal cracks, a child's scroll, asterisk mama, the dolls bleed when it rains, asterisk the letter rots, the dolls do not. Their porcelain skin masks flesh reknit by progenitor, their joints bound by Umbrella's failed symbiosis. They breathe, they starve. They remember the Megamycete's first bloom of fungus woven into T-virus, then C-virus, then something unnamed. The Beneviento name was not a coincidence. For 120 years their blood was a petri dish. Generations were infected, inoculated, and interred in the manor's walls. The Megamycete spores slept in their veins, waiting for the right strain to awaken. Umbrella's scientists called it asterisk evolution in stasis. Asterisk the dolls call it home. Their hollow eyes track intruders, their whispers no longer human. The manor does not decay, it asterisk preserves asterisk. Every warped spine, every root-threaded organ, every silent scream fossilized in a ballgown proof of a war fought in cells and chromosomes. The curse is not the virus, the curse is the waiting. The Megamycete's next mutation is not in a lab. It is in the bones of those who refuse to die. The dolls do not move, not yet. But their heart still beating, still threaded with progenitor, never stopped listening for the storm. The original test subject had a name, Matteo Beneviento. His screams were filed under baseline reactivity in Umbrella archive, escold, clinical, erased. A scientist named Dr. Livia Voss documented it all until she fled the manor with encrypted files and a jaw wired shut by her own creation. They say she drowned in the river, but the water there boils with progenitor runoff. The third figure never left. A girl with porcelain skin, her veins mapped in cracked glaze, still seated in the manor's east parlor. She is not a doll. Her eyes follow intruders, her joints creak with half-formed words. Umbrella did not create monsters, they refined them. The Beneviento name was a brand, a 120-year incubator for symbiosis. Each generation harvested, each death a data point. The doll's stillness is a lie at their hearts thrum with stolen research, their silence a corporate afterthought. Voss files would have named them. The manor's walls would have wept, but Umbrella's true horror is not the virus, it is the ledger. The living reduced to columns, subject 1, defect 7, asset 0. The porcelain girl's name was erased first, then her voice. Then her right to die. The storm approaches, the dolls will move, and every name they crush will be Umbrella's. The journals bled ink across yellowed pages. 1898, progenitor trials, names Beneviento scrawled beside mycelial schematics, a lineage mapped like a root system. The Megamycete did not evolve, it was asterisk grafted asterisk. The manor's Porcelain-Doll, jointless, eerily preserved, were not art, they were asterisk records asterisk. Each face a mask for a child who outlived their parents' transformations. Umbrella's archives never burned, they asterisk transferred asterisk. From Raccoon City to this valley, the virus refined through aristocratic blood. The Benevientos were not victims, they were asterisk vessels asterisk. A century of silent symbiosis, their pain calcified into dollhouse stillness. How many generations paid the price for a strain that could command fungi? The 2021 storm is no accident. It is the reckoning of a debt older than the company. The dolls will shatter, their silence will scream. And beneath the porcelain, a name waits impronounceable, unburied. What does a century-old experiment demand when its host family finally breaks? The answer lies in the mycelium. It has been waiting. The manor stands as a monument to quiet annihilation. Its spires pierce the sky, but the roots choke the earth. For 120 years, Umbrella's progenitor experiments did not seek to destroy the Beneviento line, they sought to perfect it. The porcelain dolls in their glass cases are not ornaments, they are vessels. Each hollow-eyed figure holds a fragment of a bloodline stretched thin by symbiosis, a family reshaped into something no longer human, no longer whole. The mycelium did not consume them. It wove through them, turned their veins into rootstock, their flesh into fertile ground. What does a corporation do when its experiment outlives its purpose? It buries the evidence. The Beneviento name was not erased, it was unmade, its legacy reduced to a cipher for corporate survival. The manor's silence is not peace. It is the hum of a system that never stops harvesting. The doll's frozen smiles mask a truth older than Umbrella's vaults. Horror is not in the explosion, but in the slow, methodical erosion. A virus does not need to kill, it only needs to change, to wait. Does the mycelium remember the family it wore away? Or has it become something else entirely, something that knows how to survive? In the shadow of Umbrella's archives, the Beneviento name was no accident. A testbed for progenitor symbiosis, their bloodline bled into porcelain silent witnesses to a century of engineered decay. What did Re9 uncover in 2026? How can a family's legacy outlive its flesh? The dolls do not weep.